The fifth most listened to episode of the year in 2021 was episode 176 of the Spun Today podcast. So that link is specifically spuntoday.com/podcast/176. And I will link to it in the episode notes. The purpose of that is so you can go to it and check out, you can listen to the episode right there within that webpage. Obviously, you can listen in, whatever your favorite podcatcher is, wherever you normally listen to podcasts. But the added benefit that you get from visiting my website and the dedicated podcast page is every single link or reference or whatever it is that I was speaking about during that episode, you'll have all the links and everything within there. You also have it in the episode notes within your podcatcher, but it's, laid out a little bit differently. And sometimes you have some extra content within my website. Like if there's any like photos or videos or anything like that, it'll make sense for you guys to go check it out there. So the fifth most listened to episode was episode 176. And episode 176 was, I spoke about the process of having a new podcast logo designed, which, by the way, I tweaked slightly. Since then, I kept the logo completely intact, exactly as it was. And if you listen to the episode, you'll learn that I went through a service called 99 Designs, which I use for my book covers. They also do logo design and a bunch of other art and visual design needs that you may have, all of which I flesh out more during that specific episode. But on the expert advice of PodSpike and a podcast clinic that I had, I think I mentioned this on the episode, I used a background color that'll pop a bit more. They recommended like a salmon type color or a blue, light bluish type color, which is what I'm using. And I also took out the with Tony Ortiz part. The logo was Spun Today with Tony Ortiz. My idea was, like the Joe Rogan Experience or WTF with Mark Maron or the Church of What's Happening Now with Joey Diaz or Skeptic Tank with Ari Shaffir or the Tim Ferriss Show and all these podcasts that I listen to frequently. And they have the host's name, within like the logo and the title. But they highlighted that these people use their names because they're famous. They're famous from like something else. So it helps call attention to their podcast. Me, obviously, I'm not famous. So I took that off and added, again, at their advice, my tagline for the show, which is anchored in writing, but unlimited in scope. And I think it works really well. But anyway, during episode 176, I spoke about when I initially got my new podcast logo. I also had another segment of goats doing goat shit, which is a new segment that I started in 2021. Whenever a GOAT, acronym meaning greatest of all time, does something dope and noteworthy, at least in my estimation. Which, by the way, a good way for you guys to, if you enjoy the goats doing goat shit segment, because I sprinkle them throughout like different episodes of the podcast. It's not every single episode. So instead of, having to like comb through different episodes to look for that segment, a good way for you guys to listen to just like a compilation of all current and future segments would be to check out my YouTube page. You can go to my YouTube page, just go to YouTube, search for Spun Today with Tony Ortiz or Spun Today Podcast, or by using one of the YouTube links on my website. And it's really cool because you'll get, I chop up all these episodes. So I'll take like each of the like goats doing goat shit segments or like clips, and I'll compile them within a playlist. So you'll get just all of those segments back to back to back to back from all the different episodes that they appear in. And same goes for episode writing tips or movie recaps and reviews. There's a playlist for that. TV shows. It's a playlist for politics, etc., etc., etc. So whatever floats your boat, whatever your poison is, as they say, you can find consolidated there within a playlist on my YouTube page without all the other stuff that you may or may not be into. But yeah, back to episode 176. It was another segment of Goats Doing Goat Shit. And in that one, I spoke about Jay-Z and his LVMH deal with Ace of Spades, as well as Jay-Z's title deal with Jack Dorsey and Square. And I also spoke about UFC 259, which was the card on March 6th when Adesanya went up in weight to fight, I forget how to say his name, Blachowicz. And lastly, I recapped and reviewed watching Coming to America, the sequel of Coming to America. And that was the 5th most watched episode of 2021.